everybody. This is Keith Salmon, and we are here with another installment of the $1 Million Stories series. And I'm really honored and privileged to have someone joining me clear from across the world in Australia, Stacey Huish. How are you, Stacey?
I'm good, thank you, Keith. How are
All
you
right.
this morning?
It's good. It's actually in the afternoon, but for me, and I know that with this is a great sort of exchange of time zones and information and taking advantage of the technology here. It's a far-reaching thing that's really always really incredible for me. I appreciate you being here. I just want to set this up a little bit. For the reason that I do this series is because I think that everyone has $1 million story, no matter who you are. It's an individual story. It's yours. You own the intellectual property to it, and you have the power to change people's lives and attract people to your world, which is very transformative. And Stacey is certainly one of those people. And I call it an experiment of synchronicity. And what I mean by that is that what I say and what Stacey may say, and or whoever's listening and watching, whatever place they're at, they may indeed hear a story that could in fact change their life with this conversation. So I'm really honored to have that happen. And I know that it has happened because people have jumped into my world and jumped into my guest's world based on my my little show here. So Stacey and I have come across paths a few months ago, and she had come to a masterclass of mine and really like ran away with the grand prize of participation, which is really great. And I appreciated you being there. It was really, really great. I teach a lot about the story and how you use it for this attraction process. Quantum attraction, client attraction is what I call it. So Stacey's story is she is affecting people. I think one of the main things that's an incredible story is how you live through some things to help people, especially women who experience pain. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself? And like I always say, I love to hear what people do, but I also really love to hear why they love it and why they're moved to do it. So why don't you tell us a little, tell us a little bit about, and I know you've got a lot of irons in the fire. I know that. And, but the endometriosis pain element of it is quite fascinating to me and engaging. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
All right. Keith, thank you so much for having me here. It's this morning here for me because I'm living in Australia, and I know it's the afternoon over there for you because you're in the USA. But I love the technology that we have because it allows us to connect in two totally different time zones, and it's two totally different days at the same time. So that's the best part. All right. So my name is Stacey Huish, and I am the founding director of 1000 Ripple Effects. And this is a project that's very, very dear to my heart. And I started this project because there are so many kids out there in the world, especially the foster care kids, who are living homeless on the streets. And they turn 18 and the government stops paying their families some money, and the foster families turn to these kids and say, hey, it's time for you to leave. You are 18, you're an adult now. And the statistics show 71% homelessness and 47% unemployment for these kids once they leave the foster care home. And I started this project because I wanted to build safe homes and provide education and training and different opportunities for these children. And I started this journey and I put a book together called 1000 Ripple Effects. And that's where I asked 1000 authors to each write a story. And they had to answer the question, what advice do you give the 15 to 21-year-olds becoming an adult? And all these people have shared their wisdom, they've shared their love, their care, their honesty on all different topics. Now, before I could actually publish this book, I had to fix a medical problem for myself. I was living in very terrible pain, and I had gone to see 8 doctors, and I'd gone to 3 different hospitals, each time saying there's something seriously wrong with me. I need help, please. And every time I'd gone to a different doctor, they give me a totally different response. This is just women's issues. There's nothing wrong with you. It's all normal. Pain is normal. don't clog up the emergency room with women's issues, because women's issues is not an emergency. And, there's the only doctor who can help you is a psychiatrist, because it's up all in your head. And you're just a drug seeker. You're faking all this pain because you're a drug seeker. Now, if anybody who knows me knows, I won't even have Panadol in my home, because I refuse to have any type of Panadol, aspirin, or Nurofen or nothing in my home. There's the strongest thing in my home is water, right? And I went, okay. And I'd spent 35 years in pain, which is a very long time. And over that time, that pain was getting worse and worse and worse. And I knew if I went and saw one more doctor, I was just going to keep getting the same results. So I had to do something different. Enough was enough. It was time for me to take full responsibility for this. And I decided to go and study medicine. I said, I've got to study medicine. I have got to find out what is wrong with me, because I've got to fix this. And I actually turned up to the medical school where you study to become a doctor or a nurse. And I went to the library there and I said, can I please borrow some medical books? And they said, no, you cannot. The only way you can borrow medical books is if you're a student who is enrolled in our university and you're studying medicine as a student. I went, okay, all right, no problem. You can stop me from borrowing books, but you will never stop me from learning. So I sat my ass down on that chair in the library. Every day I went to the library and I sat down in that chair and I borrowed those medical books in the reference section. And I read those books every day until I understood what was going on. And I took a list of symptoms with me, everything that was wrong. And I started trying to find out what medical conditions had pelvic pain. And there was quite a number of them, actually. There was a few of them. There's not just one, there's a lot.
Could I ask a quick real question? So if there was a point, obviously you were determined, and then you've hit some people say, no, I can't do this. You can't do this. And do you remember back? I know that you'll probably go to tie this in, but is there anything like about at that time when they said no, and then was it just was there an element of, I'm going to do this no matter, despite you, as instead of, to get your, this mission? You obviously got on a mission. Did you think it was to help other people at the same time, or was it just a curiosity? I mean, just a drive and determination to really solve this problem was deep within, right?
It was a very deep drive within me. And at that time, it was only personal. It was just purely personal. It was only to help myself, because I had a vision. I had to go and build all these homes and schools for these kids. I wanted to take care of the kids out there, right?
Got it. That ties it together. Thank you. Keep going.
Yeah. So I had to cure this pain, and I didn't know how yet. I just sat down, I started reading the medical books, and I started going through one medical condition at a time, going, all right, this is pelvic pain, but the other symptoms don't match. All right, so next medical condition. Nah, symptoms don't match again. All right, next medical condition. And I'd gone through several medical conditions and the symptoms weren't matching. I'd only get maybe one, maybe two symptoms that were matched, but not all of them. I went, okay, so it's not that either. I went, all right, not this, not that, not this. And it's like the old saying, it's the last key on the hook that unlocks the lock, right? And this one particular afternoon, I was just happened to be listening to a random podcast, and I couldn't even tell you what it was or who it was by or anything. And all of a sudden, this woman started describing her symptoms. And I went, they're my symptoms. Okay, all right. And my ears picked up and I started listening more intently. And she mentioned a word called endometriosis. And I went, oh, I've got to remember that word. Okay. So as soon as the podcast finished, I jumped onto Google and I typed in endometriosis. And this time I didn't know how to spell it, right? So I just spelled it the way it sounded. And Google corrected me, which was awesome. And I went, oh, okay, pelvic pain. Yeah, okay. This is not on my list of medical conditions to start researching. Oh, all right, better go to the library. So the very next day, straight down to the library. First thing in the morning, I was there before the opening doors, You know, they hadn't even opened the doors yet. And I'm just going, I'm here. And I sat down in my chair. I found all the medical books that had endometriosis in them. And I started reading about this condition. I went, oh my gosh, okay. Yeah, the symptoms are matching. Yes, the pain matches. Oh my gosh, yes, that matches. And I just went, I think I found what's wrong with me, endometriosis. And so I did a lot more research and a lot more study into this. And I found that, yes, it interferes with the hormones. So you have definite hormone imbalances, definite pelvic pain, definite pain in the legs. You can actually stop walking, which is what happened to me. Like, I couldn't sit in a chair. I couldn't stand up because the pain was so bad in my legs. It was that bad. And I would take weeks off at a time just because of this pain. So this is why I had to do something about it. And through, you know, it was like 3-4 months of solid research of just understanding this. And I went, yep, okay, this is what I've got. And I went, I'm just trusting my research on this. And I went, yep, okay. So now that I know what I have, I had to start understanding, what is it? What is endometriosis?
Mm-hmm.
How does somebody get it in the first place? Why does it start? And the most important question, how do I fix it?
Right.
Yeah. So more research, because this is where the real research started. Right. It took me 3 months just to find out what was wrong with me. Now I had to find out all about this condition. And before I go any further, I have to say I'm not a doctor. All right. So I do have to make a disclaimer. You cannot take medical advice from me at all. If you are in pain, please go and see a trained medical professional, and hopefully they'll be able to steer you in the right direction and get you the help that you need. All I can do today is share my story of what I did and how I helped myself, basically. That's all I can do.
Oh, that's a good thing to disclaim. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started reading about this medical condition. I found out what endometriosis is. It's all the endometrial lining growing on the outside of the organs instead of the inside of the uterus. And so each month, when there's a shedding of the lining, all of the outside of the organs are trying to shed as well. And that's the pain. That's where the pain hurts, and that hurts real bad, right? And I went, okay, all right, so now I know what it is. Now I've got to start finding out, how do you get this thing? You know, what starts it? What causes this? And through every step of my medical research, I would ask the question, what causes that, right? And I found out there was 2 things. It was stomach surgery can cause endometriosis. So if somebody's had some type of stomach surgery, they've had their appendix removed or something else, that can cause it. And or just nutritional deficiencies. So after a long line of questions, because we're on a time frame here today, I could talk for about 3 hours on this.
Sure.
All right. So I'm going to shorten this right down to from all the study that I did and kept asking the question, what causes that? What causes that? What causes nutritional deficiencies? What causes the body not to absorb a vitamin? What causes the body not to metabolize estrogen? What causes the body to, how does the body metabolize estrogen and all sorts of things like that? It came down to nutritional deficiencies. So I went straight to the doctor, got all my blood tests done. I found out I was quite nutritionally deficient in quite a number of vitamins and minerals. And then I went, okay, so how long does it take to fix this? More medical study, all in the medical books. And the medical books told me it takes 2 years to fix a nutritional deficiency, right? And it can take 3 years to fix a hormonal imbalance. I went, okay, that's going to be a long journey, but we've got to start it. And we don't know anywhere along that journey from the time I start to up to that 3-year period is when we're going to see some changes happen and we're going to see some pain get reduced. And I just happened to be, I started the journey. I started getting all the correct levels of vitamins and minerals I needed to take and understanding hormones. There's actually 7 hormones connected with endometriosis, 7 hormones in the body. And you've got to understand all 7 of them. Right? And food turns them on and food turns them off. So you've got to understand the food that you put in your mouth is actually affecting your body. It's affecting your hormones. It affects everything in your life, right? And your hormones control everything. This is the part I found most fascinating, is the hormones control everything. Hormones control when you feel hungry, when you don't feel hungry, the amount of weight that you have, whether you're awake or asleep. The hormones are controlling everything in that body. So you've got to understand those hormones and all 7 of them, okay? So anyway, I fixed the nutritional deficiencies and I fixed most of the hormonal imbalance, but there was still some pain. And I went, okay, I'm doing everything right. I'm making sure I don't eat any food that causes inflammation, because that's another thing you've got to be aware of. Make sure you get rid of all the food that causes inflammation. And you also have to be aware of endocrine disruptors. Now, that's a big word. The endocrine system is your hormonal system. And the endocrine disruptor is something that will actually upset your hormones and pull them out of balance, okay? And it could be anything from mascara, lipstick, eyeshadow in women, cologne, perfume, aromatherapy oils, something in your hand cream, night cream, day cream, foot cream, face cream, nose cream, whatever cream you put on, deodorant, any types of things. These types of things are endocrine disruptors. So I got rid of everything out of my life. All the creams, makeup, deodorant, gone in the bin. Aromatherapy oils, threw them out because they were interrupting my endocrine system as well, causing pain. Anyway, so I had done all the right things. I'd stopped eating the wrong food, started eating the right food, fixed nutritional deficiencies, fixed the hormone imbalance, got rid of all the endocrine disruptors. There was still some pain. And I went, why am I still in pain? I'm doing everything right. You know, I've followed all the instructions. I've followed all the medical advice from the books I've been reading. And I went, all right, maybe there's something wrong here, or maybe there's something I haven't looked at or haven't done. And I went back to the medical books. I've got to now find out, how do I get rid of pain without the use of drugs? Because I won't touch them, okay? There is a medical reason why, but I'm not going into that today. So I started doing some research and I found far infrared heat. Far infrared heat penetrates deep into the cells, into the molecular structure of the cells, and starts healing them, starts healing the cells at a cellular level. I went, oh, wow, that's really interesting. It takes away inflammation, it reduces and takes away all the pain. And it does actually take away endometrial pain as well. And I went, okay. From the other pain relievers that I was studying at the same time, I went, the far infrared heat is the one I need. That's the one that I need to go and find. So now I've got to go and find myself a far infrared heat treatment that I can use on a regular basis. So more research, back to the medical books again. All these medical books are getting a good workout here, you know, and I found a device called an endo belt. It's shortened endo belt's an endometriosis belt, but it's actually a belt that you put on around your pelvic area. It has all the far infrared heat in it, and you put it on every day for 60 days. You only need 10 to 15 minutes. That's all you need. And because it is a belt, you can actually put it on while you're at work, sitting at your desk, or any of those things as well. So you don't have to take time out of your day. You can just use it while you're typing your emails in the morning or checking your Facebook as well. Okay. And so I put the endo belt on. Within 4 days, all my pain had gone. Oh, relief. Oh my gosh. Okay. And I kept using this every day for 60 days. 30 days, still the pain was gone. 45 days, all that pain was still gone. 60-day period, the pain was still gone. Now, it does take up to 60 days, which is approximately 6 to 8 weeks, for the molecular structure to change in the cells of your body, which will send signals through into your brain that says, hey, the cells are now healed and you don't need to be in pain anymore and the inflammation has gone. So it does take that amount of time for it to go. I still use the belt because of the health reasons. I actually got a larger one this time, but this is what I have done. So now I have healed my body. I said goodbye to that endo page forever. It is never coming back. And the best thing, Keith, is I can now go and publish my book, my 1,000 Ripple Effects book. I can publish it. And that's the part that I'm excited the most. I can get on, I can create 1,000 ripple effects right across the world, and I can run my business. That's what I can do. I'm not being interrupted by pain anymore, and pain is not stopping me, not at all.
Well, that's an amazing journey of resilience and tenacity, and, you know, excuse my language, but you had a lot of balls to do that, to take it head on like that and face it, and really just say yes when somebody says no. That's the reason I knew that the motive was obviously you want to get out of pain. Obviously, that's an obvious thing, but the idea that you have other things, you had to get that out of your way, right? You had to get that out of your way to accomplish the things that you had already set your sights on.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's an incredible story. I'll have to connect you. There would had somebody that was on the line connecting who knows all about endometriosis and experienced it. So I'll have to connect you to who's just happened to be coincidentally watching today and piped in the comments. So I'll make sure that you know who that is. You guys can offline, you can connect.
Lovely.
That's that synchronicity thing. I had no idea that somebody would pop on like that. So this creating ripple effects, it sounds very big, and I know it is. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about that, if you don't mind, and how you're using, I think that the journey that you just told us about gives you incredible strength, and even more so than ever before, to make this thing happen. So where are you in the process of the book?
Right now, we're just doing all the formatting. So all the 1,000 authors are in. The editing has been done. The book covers have been done. If you go to the 1000rippleeffects.com website, you'll actually see the book covers. And it's a box set of 6 books. And we're just finishing the formatting, because that formatting is a little bit tricky. Mm-hmm. And once it's all finished, then yes, we will be publishing. So I'll announce the date a little bit later on. Not at the moment, because I want to make sure we get everything done first. Okay, yeah. One step at a time.
No
but the 1,000
starts,
Ripple Effects project is a very big project, Keith, and it's literally about creating 1,000 ripple effects right across the world. And one of the ripple effects I wanted to start is to help women put an end to their endometriosis pain. This is one of the ripple effects. So let's help every woman out there who is in pain. There's 176 million women suffering from endometriosis pain right here today. That's how many women are in pain. And they've been to doctors, and the doctors have not been able to help them. And I said, well, all I can do is share my journey, and all I can do is share with you the far infrared heat really does help take all your pain away. And it is absolutely imperative that you take full responsibility for your own journey, for your own healing, your own body, and say no to pain. Get some help that you need. Get one of the endo belts, because they're absolutely useful.
Right. I think it's important. I love what you talked about. Part of early on in the journey was actually when you found out that what you had a name to it. That you found somebody else who was experiencing what you were experiencing, to make you, the person who was commenting said, it's not in my head, and so there must have been a time when that must have been a relief of some sort. You may not have figured out at that time how to really solve the problem, but understanding that it's an actual thing that sort of like, it makes it the right, it's an actual thing that's there, not just imagined, had to have been a relief, I would assume. Did that make you feel like, okay, now that it's been identified, I can take care of this somehow? Was that a turning point?
Yeah, when I knew what it was and I knew what was starting it, then I started figuring out how to fix it myself. Mm-hmm. And it was just, the thing that took the most time was the journey of the study, and doing all the understanding and the learning parts of it, and then going, okay, so this is what I've got to do, and then finding out how much vitamins to take, and it's going, wow, it takes 2 years to fix vitamin deficiencies. It takes 3 years to fix hormonal imbalances. All right, well, I've just got to start this journey. I've just got to do it. And don't know how long it's going to take before we start seeing results, but mine was actually fairly quick. So mine was within 2 months. I started seeing results very quickly. And I went, this is good news. Oh, thank goodness.
Right.
Oh, wow. Okay. And I just kept going because I knew I had a book to publish. I knew I've got kids to look after. I knew I had homes to build. So I kept going, and I wanted my life back, Keith. I wanted to be able to function, which is what I hadn't been able to do for a long time.
Yeah. Well, you're taking that courage that you had and you're spreading it around the world, literally with the ripple effects. So the ripple effects. So how did you come up with that idea of the name of the ripple effects? That one story eventually just reaches someone else, or how did you tell me about the origin of that? It's a great name.
Well, it was a bit of a strange story. I had met so many kids in my life, and I had helped them with all sorts of different issues and problems, life problems and things that they needed help with. They didn't have anybody. They didn't have a mum or a dad that they could go to. So I would actually be their mum. And I'd talk to them about everything. All questions, all topics were open for discussion with me. And I sat here going, well, if I've helped 150 kids with all sorts of different issues, there's got to be more out there. There's got to be so many more kids out there that need help as well. And I went, what if I get like all these people to write their stories, because I'm not the only person who's got advice, right? And if we got 1,000 people to share some advice and we get these books out to all these kids, then these kids can learn things. Now, if we can actually educate a child, then that child will go on and educate their own children as well. That's the ripple effect, right? So the more kids that have a chance to succeed at life, the more kids that will succeed at life, Keith. This is really important, right? You've got to give them a chance first. You've got to give them if kids are living in survival mode, they can't dream.
Right.
You've got to create that space where they can dream, where they can be themselves, and they can do what's important to them. They can go and be whatever they want to be in life. So that's what the 1,000 Ripple Effects Project is about creating a safe space where these kids can be themselves and they can take their own journey and be guided and to live their own potential in whatever they want to do.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. So in terms of the and that's beautiful. In terms of the there's six volumes. Does it come in the 6 volumes? Is that how it works?
There's 6 books to this, because there's 166 stories in each book.
In
and
each story.
1,000 stories in the whole.
Right. Okay. So is it by category, or is it random, or how does it all sort of like work?
All right. So every author wrote on a totally different topic. Some of them wrote about life, marriage, relationships, communication, business, marketing. We've got really practical advice in the book, like how to eat a taco. And we've got some really deep, meaningful letters that women or men have written literally to their own son or daughter, saying, I believe in you and I know that you can do this, and you might be having a really tough day or a tough week right at the moment, but I want you to take one more step forward. I want you to keep going, because you will make it at the end, right? And you could feel it. You could feel the love coming through in these letters and in these stories that these men and women have written for these kids. Mm-hmm. And I read all 1,000 stories and I cried almost at all of them. Maybe not the practical ones. I might have had a giggle at those ones, but
probably the taco one. You kind of like gave yourself a break on that one emotionally.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But we've got advice like just do it. That's as short as it gets. Or We've got really long letters that are very heartfelt and very emotional letters that they really connect to. And then it really impacts in their heart. Like it connects and makes a huge impact in their heart.
Mm-hmm.
And
so did you solicit these letters and articles or stories and then did you have like 10,000 of them to pick from, or how did that work?
No, I just started getting on the phone and asking people. So
Oh,
I
wow.
just reach out and say, hi, I'm doing this project. Would you write a story for my book, please? And I reached out to J.K. Rowling and she said yes. I reached out to quite a number of little authors out there, quite a number of famous people, and they are in the book. They've each shared their story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the J.K. Rowling one was quite interesting because you can only write a letter and send it through post, not through email or website. So I wrote the letter, sent it through the post, and I got this email. It was like 11 o'clock at night, and it was from the J.K. Rowling office. And they said, yes, we give you full permission. Here's the story for your book. And I jumped up and down. I was so excited. I had so much joy. I was like, oh my God, yes, we got it. You know, and it took
awesome.
about 1.5 to 2 years to get these 1,000 stories in this book. Some people have written poems, and some of these poems are really beautiful poems. They're amazing. The talent that has come from these people, the effort, the standard, the quality. I am proud to stand behind all 1,000 people and say, this is what we are here to do for these kids. We're here to help them.
Mm-hmm. Well, now I know why you were your ears perked up when you saw the $1 Million Story masterclass that I had a few months back.
Yes.
It seems like I now know the full story, because I was like, this perfect stranger from Brisbane, Australia is this all over my masterclass. How did that happen? And now I know. Now I know. Yeah, it is amazing. I mean, it's like when at the end of the day, for me, for because it's running through my veins and it's in my DNA, when everything else has gone to crap, you still have your story. You still have your story, and you're still building your story. You haven't lived through the worst part, potentially. You just don't know. But if you keep going and you find your mission through those tough times, it's magic. And it's part of how we create business, how we create opportunities for ourselves and for others.
Keith, I've got to tell the listeners, everybody who's listening here, you've got to do Keith Salmon's $1 Million Story workshop. Okay, it is so worth it. You learn so much from it. You learn how to put the story together. You learn that you do have a story inside yourself, and that story really is $1 million story. Now, Keith is amazing. He's very patient. He listens, and I mean, he listens, right? Really listens to you. And he helps craft that story. He helps bring it out of you, and so that you can go and tell it to the world. So every person has $1 million story inside of you. Come and do Keith's workshop and learn how to get your $1 million story out of you, so you can go out there and change lives, make an impact in the world, and leave a footprint.
Well, I'll send you a $5 bill in the mail. But like I was saying before, Stacey came in and she showed up and she kept up with the homework and like ran away with the grand prize, which embarrassingly enough, it's right there on my desk. And so I'll be putting that. I promise I'll be putting that. Stacey won a hoodie. She won $1 Million Story hoodie. So she won it fair and square. It wasn't even a contest. So that is coming in. We'll follow up with this. We'll do a replay of this interview when she sends a little video with her when she's wearing it, which will be really, really great.
All right, we can do that. Definitely.
Yeah. Wow, you've got one hell of a story, Stacey, and how you're. What's fascinating to me, and what I think I want the listeners the viewers to just pay attention to closely, is the way that Stacey not only just told me a story, but it was quite a journey. But how the inspiration that she had to go through that journey was her ultimate plan, like this ripple effect, this Thousand Stories Ripple Effect project wasn't just as a result of going through that journey. I had to get this out of my way so I could be the best I could be to deliver this mission, this vision, how you get yourself involved in a mission that you can actually accomplish. And this is the evidence Stacey's providing here, right here today, is that if that vision is worth it to you, you'll find any way to make that thing happen. And congratulations for doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. You know,
my philosophy in life, Keith, is there's always 250 ways to solve a problem. All right. So if the first way that you're trying to solve the problem is not working, find another way.
Yes.
There's 250 ways to do everything. And there is a solution out there. And sometimes it just takes you to take full responsibility for yourself, for your life, for your health. Do it. Just do it. Take Nike's advice and just do it.
Just do it. That's right. Yeah. Nothing to it. My old boss used to say nothing to it but to do it, you know.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all about action. It's all about, you know, I was going off on an idea before, you know, sometimes you talk about who you want to work with and who you don't want to work with. And I didn't want to give daydreamers a bad time, but I said, listen, daydreamers, they either I don't want to pick on the daydreamers, but you got to take that daydream and just make a move. You got to make a move with the daydream and make it a reality. And that shift, or whatever that you want to call it, is something that's a fascinating. You just have to go like that to it. I don't know how else to describe it. And then it becomes something you're living instead of just thinking about. It's really fascinating to me. Well, Stacey, like I said, our little conversation will start, and then all of a sudden it'll be over, just like that, just like a short.
It's time to say goodbye.
It's a very short airplane ride between close cities. So, how close is Adelaide to you? Long ways?
Oh, a long way away. I'm up in Queensland, which is the top of Australia, and Adelaide is down the bottom of Australia. Long way away.
I see. Okay. I've talked to enough people from Australia. I need to get a map in here so I can really figure out who I'm talking to, because I think we think it's small, but it's really quite large. Yeah.
It's large.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Stacey, thank you for sharing a part of your morning, a part of your Wednesday morning with us. And I will, I'm really anxious to see and to hear when the follow up with me, please, on when it's coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. I will do that. Thank you so much for having me here with you, Keith. And thank you to all your listeners as well. Hopefully somebody out there has heard this message today and it will change a woman's life forever. Even if you're not a woman, share it with all the women out there, because they actually go through life secretly in pain. They're in terrible pain, in terrible silence, and they don't tell anybody. So share it far and wide, get it in front of as many women as you possibly can, and let them see it for themselves. Okay? So this is a really important topic. Every woman deserves to live pain-free. Every woman.
That's a great message. That's a great message. And for everyone listening to you and to us, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. My name is Keith Salmon, and this is the $1 Million Story series. And if you get a chance, I want to encourage you to join the Quantum Client Attraction Group. It is a Facebook group. It's a free group, and we talk about this stuff all the time, and we make your transformation stories pay off in many, many different ways. So join that group, and we'll be here again soon. And thank you so much, Stacey, again, and good luck with everything. And we'll be in touch. Okay.
Thank you, Keith.
Okay.
Bye, listeners.
Bye. Thanks so much.